Okay, so I have a sub tomorrow, so I wanted to explain tomorrow's assignment and kind of talk to you a little bit about FRQs and what exactly you'll be doing with this assignment. I think it'll be easier if you just watch the video for this. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into OneNote. And you should, I don't think I can make that full screen. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Trying to make this a little bit larger so we can fit more stuff on the screen. Okay. All right. So in OneNote, you are going to go to the tracker. Let's take a look at that. And you'll notice that tomorrow night you have a mastery check that is due. So please make sure that you get that done before tomorrow night. The other thing that you have to do, and the other thing then that you have to do for today is the 5.6 Pesticides FRQ. It can be found over here. And there is one thing that I want to show you really quickly in the course resources. So if you click on course resources right here, and then go to FRQ task verbs and tips, it'll pull up this information for you. Now, this information right here is from Mr. Smeeds. So if you watch Mr. Smeeds' notes, he may have shown you this at some point. I don't really remember from his notes. But this is not my favorite explanation of this because I don't think it's extremely detailed in some of this information. So I wanted to drop down here. Here's another explanation. This is actually from the College Board website. So I think this is a really good explanation of the FRQ task verbs. And then if you look down here, I like this table. This is my preferred. It's very similar to Mr. Smeeds. It's just a little bit different. But you can see this table here, which gives you explanations of the different task verbs as well. So what do I mean by task verbs? If you go into the FRQ prompt that you're going to be doing today, you will notice that the task verbs are highlighted and bolded. So not highlighted, they're actually bolded. And so when you see that task verb, scroll back up to the top as you're working through the FRQ prompt today and actually do what it tells you. Because if you don't provide the information that that the College Board is actually looking for, when the scorers grade your FRQs for the test, you will actually miss points for not including everything that they want you to include. So why am I like having you do this today when I haven't had you do this in the past with other FRQs? Well, I'm doing this because starting next semester, when you take a test, you're going to have FRQs on each of the tests. And so I am going to start grading your FRQs just like College Board would grade your FRQs on the AP test. This is going to be annoying probably for some of you because you're going to get frustrated because I'm not going to give you points even if you have sort of the right answer. Right now I'm giving you points even if you just sort of have the right answer. So I'm being very lenient in what I'm accepting. Now that we've been through more than half of the course, you guys have learned more than half of the APES content at this point. So you have a lot more information in your head and your answers should be more complete when you write an FRQ. So I feel that I can finally start grading you like College Board will grade you on the test. So that's why I'm showing you these task verbs. So today, what I want you to do is I want you to go through this FRQ and answer these questions. You'll notice that question A and B, this is information that we haven't actually talked about yet. But I do want you to answer those questions. So you may need to Google some of the information, or you might be able to get the information just from talking in your groups. It is totally fine if you all work on these FRQs together. So definitely talk to each other in your groups and make sure that you're getting the questions completely answered. Again, refer to the chart above this prompt so that you can use the task verbs and do what it's telling you to do. Another hint and tip that I like to give my students for completing FRQs is when you see a table or a chart or a graph, before you even start answering the question, go ahead and read the prompt up above. Usually there's a small paragraph like this one above a chart or graph. So they give you that information and then they give you the chart or the graph. And so you can figure out what the chart or graph is telling you before you even start answering the questions. Now, one thing I want to point out that was a little bit confusing to my students yesterday or today as I'm recording this video is that number of crop insect pests captured. Those are the number of pests or number of insects that were captured in the traps that they describe up here above. That means that as more pesticide was applied, the number of insects here starts to increase again. The number of live insects increases up to the point that the traps in 2015, when this much pesticide was applied, this many insects were still alive after the pesticide was on the crops. Okay. So that's all I want to tell you about that. So it's not the number of pests that were killed from the pesticide, it's the number of pests that were not killed from the pesticide and they were still alive and then they were caught in traps. So I just wanted to make that clear for you. That was confusing for some folks. The other thing I want to tell you about FRQs that I told my classes today was there are 3 FRQs that will be on your test in May. The first FRQ is always a scientific method FRQ. The second FRQ is always a problem, environmental problem or an environmental issue, and then you propose some sort of solution to that issue. And so that's what this FRQ was. This was the actual FRQ from the year that I started teaching APES. I remember my students coming back to me, and when they got down here, they were talking about pesticide treadmills, which if you have done the notes, you'll understand what that is. And I remember them mentioning, Dr. Rogalski, we had a question on pesticide treadmills. I did so well on that question because, you know, they had done my notes and we talk about pesticide treadmills. So anyway, I want you to answer this. You are going to turn in 2 documents when you are finished. When you are finished with this FRQ, go ahead and submit that to the Canvas assignment. Then what I want you to do is to scroll down to the key, and I want you to work through the key. You can work with the people at your table for this. And I want you to look at the answers that they accepted on the key and then look at your answer to see if it would have been given a point. Now, there's no half credit with answers. So if your answer does not answer or does not match one of these answers, you do not get the point. Okay? So if you have any questions about that, you can ask me when I get back, when I see you all again on Thursday. But that's kind of the situation here. So you either get the points or the whole point, or you don't get the whole point. And so just follow the rubric here as you work your way through. At the end, there's 10 total points that you can earn for question 2. This was the second question, like I said. And so you're going to record what is your score out of 10 points. And so as you're working through, like if you don't get this point, well, if you do get it, just put a +1 beside what you wrote. If you don't get it, put a +0. And then add up your total score, and then how many points did you get out of 10? Now, here's the good news. If you get around a 5 or 6 on the FRQ, so you earn 5 or 6 points, that is equivalent to getting equivalent to getting a 3 on the AP test. So if you're getting a 5 or a 6, you're actually on par to pass the AP test. Now, that depends on a couple of factors, how well you did on the other FRQs, and it also depends on how well you did on the multiple choice. But if you did about the same on the entire test as you did on the one FRQ that you're answering today, you would earn a 3 on the AP test. So guys, it is not impossible to earn a 3 on the AP test. And that's what I want to tell you after you score this today and you see how you do on this FRQ. Okay, the other thing I wanted to point out really quickly is that there are some student samples down below. Usually when it says A right here, that means that that was somebody who earned all 10 points, 9 or 10 usually, but usually 10 points on the FRQ. When you scroll down and then you see B, that is somebody who did not earn all the points on the FRQ. So you can kind of take a look at that and see how these students did. And then the last thing I want to show you is just a overview of what they're looking for on the FRQ, and it's also going to show you how they scored those 2 sample FRQs. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I may not get the email though until I come back on Wednesday. And you're also welcome to stop by, or you can sign up for, as usual, you can always sign up for Pathways. But anyway, I think that's it, guys. Good luck on this FRQ. Have a great Tuesday, and I'll see you all on Thursday. Take care.